From Srkcycles.com, and I'm riding a 2016 Kawasaki Ninja with ABS 300, and I'm going to tell you why for most people this is the sport bike you need to be starting with. Alright guys, let's start with the words of wisdom today. Psalm 26:7. Like the useless legs of one who is lame is a proverb in the mouth of fools. That's wisdom right there. And I'm about to bust out a wheelie. These are our tank straps. What we do is we run them along the lower fork tubes, especially the Harley Davidsons, a very strong piece, and then the suspension gets to kind of bounce around as it wants to. You can see with two straps, I'm shaking the bike, it's moving the trailer and my truck. This thing's not going anywhere. A little small wheelie, and then my foot slipped. Throw it in the third gear. All right, let's get to it. Let's push these mirrors out, so they might be somewhat usable. This tank's nice and cold. Alright, so they've got a gear indicator on this thing, which it's probably not the best placement for it. Something in my eyeball. It's basically in direct sun. It should be higher. It should have been up here somewhere. It's in direct sun. It's not, it's a little hard to see. Hold on, I gotta get this thing on my eyeball. All right. All right, so this is the Kawasaki 300 Ninja, and this body style. So when they first came out with the 250 Ninja, it came out in like '86, and they made the exact same bike. I kid you not, the exact same bike. Every part was interchangeable, every part was replaceable for like a decade until 2007, and then in 2008. They made a new body for it, but it had the same old motor on it. So it was like, okay, it looks modern, but it was still the old, same carbureted engine. I don't know exactly when they started, when they changed to the 300, but at that point, it was fuel injected. It was somewhat modern. It made more power. It was not a bike that was designed in 1986. So there we go. Yeah, all right. So there's a big difference from this bike and even a 2007, because let's just say the 2007 was actually designed in the 80s, and nothing good came out of the 80s except for me? No, I'm not that good. Take this little corner. All right. The cool thing about these bikes, one, they're not super tiny, minuscule like a Grom. Two, they can actually do actual real speeds. This bike will do probably 100 miles an hour. We're not going to demonstrate it, but it'll probably do 100 miles an hour. Three, it actually looks good. You hop off this bike, it's a good looking bike, and the average person, where is my neutral? There we go. The average person is going to see this bike and not be all like, oh, it's so small, it must be a tiny bike. They're going to be like, wow, it's a cool looking bike. What is that, a 600, a 1000, a Hayabusa, a Ducati? But it does not pack. Now it packs a punch, but does not pack the ridiculous amount. Let's just say it, the ridiculous amount of power that a Super Sport is going to pack. Let me show you what it's got. Now that is fun. That is a fun amount of power. I just did 4 gears. I used the entire gear back there without really speeding, and it was legal, and I just had fun, and I pulled pretty good, and I'm riding a motorcycle. And that's what you want. That's what these new riders, this is what you want. And what's good is all the power, the more the power is at the top end. So you can kind of hang around in the lower RPMs and not have a ridiculous amount of power. You don't have 150 horsepower at like 1,000 RPMs like you would on a leader bike. That should be horrifying to you. If it's not, it should be. It should be scary for you. Because if you make a mistake, and let me just give you an example of how I see young beginner riders ride new bikes. It's like this. They're like, what's going on? Why is there too much throttle? You know what I mean? They're like, you know, they're doing all this stuff. You know what I mean? If you ride like that, that's dangerous. You know, they'd be like, you know, like if you ride like that, this is you need a bike like this. A 600 will get you in trouble. A 1000 will get you dead. But a bike like this, I mean, it's tons of fun. You get to really work the full range of the gears, really get into the power band. You don't just lean on the bike and you say, all right, what's the best that the bike plus my riding abilities can do? And I can assure you, this bike is you are the weakest link that's on this bike. It's not, in most cases, you are the slowest. You know, it's like, oh, what do I gotta do? What do I gotta do to get my bike faster? Put a better rider on the bike or become a better rider. That's what you gotta do to get that bike faster. It's not about the exhaust. It's not about whatever dumb modification that you're gonna spend way too much money on is. It's about you. I had no time to go through that late. It's about you and how you ride the bike. And I can assure you, this bike is fun, this bike handles good, you could drag some knee on this bike, and if you know what you're doing, you can beat your buddies on a course, not on the road, because what are you doing racing on the road, man? What are you doing? But if you have a bunch of twisties and stuff like that, a lot of windy, curvy roads, you can absolutely have the edge on a bike like this. Because no one is giving it full throttle on some windy, curvy road, except for you, who's having a blast rocking this bike, just bang, you know, just tacking it out, having a great time. It's like this. Have you ever ridden a Miata? They're awesome. Listen, it's not a muscle car. The Miata's not a muscle car. The Miata's not a... It's not a supercar. The Miata is a sports car, and it's been one of the best sports cars since it came out. It wins like top 10 sports cars like every year for the past like 2 decades. And you know why? And people who ride Ferraris and they do everything else, they love the Miata because you can actually use all the power on the road, and it's fun, and it's planted, and it handles well. And it's small, it's nimble, you can throw it around. It's like a giant go-kart for the road. And it's still kind of lighthearted because you don't like find yourself doing 200 miles an hour, you know, through your development or you know, in your driveway. This is the Miata of motorcycles. It's fun. It's nimble, you can throw it around, you can really actually use all of its power. I don't know how much power, 45 horsepower or whatever it is. You can use all the horsepower it's got, and it puts a big smile on your face. And you're probably not going to catch yourself doing crazy speeds on this bike. because, hey, you don't need to. But it could. I bet this bike can do 120 miles an hour. Maybe more. I don't know. But it's all about you. It's all about the rider. This is a fun bike. It's also comfortable. Alright guys, that wraps up the test drive of the 300 Kawasaki. This thing is still on my eye. Guys, don't forget to check out the link below. And we'll see you guys later. Remember, it's not what you're riding, but where you're going. What's up guys, Sean here from Srkcycles. And thanks for watching the video. Click here to subscribe. Click here to see more content. And as always, check out the description box to see our latest inventory and our killer deals, to see how to win a free motorcycle, and also to see our latest bikes and beards gear. We'll see you guys later. Remember, it's not what you're riding, but where you're going.